Hello viewers, welcome back. In this lecture we will understand the priority non-primitive scheduling. So consider the following set of processes with arrival time in millisecond. CPU burst time is also in millisecond and priority is also given in the priority column. So in this table we have the arrival times of the processes, the different arrival time for all the processes, and their burst time is also mentioned and the priority is also given. So the priority is, it's a higher the number represents the higher the priority, means the 5 number 5 is the highest priority process and number 2 is the least priority process. Okay, now the CPU scheduling policy is priority non-primitive, so we have to use the priority non-primitive scheduling algorithm to calculate the average waiting time and average turnaround time. Now let us prepare the Gantt chart. So we have a Gantt chart. So here, while preparing the Gantt chart, we have to first see the arrival time of the process. So P1 is arriving at 0 millisecond. So hence, during the preparation of the Gantt chart, the first process is allocated to the CPU is the P1. Its burst time is 4 milliseconds. So for entire 4 millisecond it executes, right? It doesn't see whether the other process of the higher priority arrives during its execution. So the three processes during its execution, the highest priority process is also arrived, but still the P1 doesn't stop. It continues and it completes its burst time because it's a non-primitive priority scheduling. In the non-primitive, the P1 is not preempted, right? So it is not preempted, it completes its burst time. Thereafter, at the 4th millisecond, if you see at the 4th millisecond, all the 5 processes are in the CPU, right? So now which one to select? Now we have to select based on the priority. A 5 and 5, both the processes are having a same priority, equal priority, but still we are taking the P4 because it arrived first. So FCFS policy we adapt here if the two processes are having the same priority, right? So now P4 will execute for 5 millisecond and complete its CPU burst time and it releases at 9 millisecond. Thereafter, the next higher priority process is the P5. The P5 occupies the CPU for 2 millisecond and releases at 11 millisecond. Right. Now we left only P2 and P3. So among P2, P3, the highest priority process is the P3. So P3 will occupy the CPU, right? And its burst time is 1 millisecond. It will complete 1 millisecond of CPU burst time and releases the CPU at 12 millisecond. Now P2 is occupying the CPU and it will burst for 3 millisecond because burst time is 3 millisecond of P2, right? So this is the end of the Gantt chart. So in this way we can prepare the Gantt chart. So there is a difference between primitive and non-primitive. So this is the non-primitive. So process will not be preempt, even the higher priority process enter while the current process is running whose priority is lesser than the newly arrived process. Now we have a formula like to calculate the turnaround time. We need to have the completion time minus arrival time, and also we have a waiting time, that is turnaround time minus, it is a minus burst time. Okay, so based on that we have prepared this table. Now you can see a P1 completion time, so it is completing at 4 millisecond, so hence the 4 is the completion time. P2 completing its execution at 15th millisecond, so 15 is the completion time of P2. P3 completing its process in 12 millisecond. So completion time is 12 millisecond. So P4 is 9. So P4 completes its task here, right? And P5 is 11, this value. Okay. Now after getting this completion time, we can calculate the turnaround time based on this formula, completion time minus arrival time. So this is the completion time minus arrival time is 0, right, equals to 0. P2 is completion time is 15, arrival is 1. So 15 minus 1, 14 is the turnaround time. So P3, 12 is completion, arrival is 2. So 12 minus 2, 10 is the turnaround time. P4, 9 is the completion time, 3 is the arrival time, 9 minus 3 is 6, 6 is the turnaround time. Similarly, P5 is completion time is 11, arrival time is 4, so 11 minus 4 is 7, right? So after getting this turnaround time, now we can go for waiting time, right? So we have the turnaround time like 4, 14, 10, 6, 7 for P1 to P5, right? Now waiting time 4 minus 4. So what is the 4? 4 is the turnaround time. And what is the burst time? So as mentioned in the table, 4. So 4 minus 4 is 0. 0 is the waiting time. So 14 is the turnaround time minus burst time. So 11 is the waiting time. So 10 is the turnaround time, burst time is 1, right? And waiting is 9. 6 is the turnaround time, 5 is the burst time, waiting time is 1 millisecond. So 7 is the turnaround time, 2 is the burst time, right? 5 is the waiting time for P5 process, right? So this is the calculation what we can do on this given table by preparing the Gantt chart. So let us go to the average turnaround time. So add all the turnaround numbers like 4, 14, 10, 6, 7. So it will become 41. So 41 is divided by 5. That is 8.2 millisecond is the average turnaround time. Now coming to average waiting time, right? So 0, 11, 9, 1, 5 divided by 5. So 26 divided by 5, that is 5.2 millisecond, right? So this is how we can calculate the non-primitive priority scheduling algorithm, right? So this is the way of creating. So in the previous lecture we had used the primitive priority scheduling algorithm. We have done the same types of calculation, but that calculation is based on the uh, primitive priority scheduling algorithm. Now this calculation we have done on non-primitive manner, right? So in the priority non-primitive manner we have done these calculations. So hope you understood all these concepts of the CPU scheduling, right? In the next lecture we will come up with the multi-level queue, right? So in multi-level priority, so we will see that topic in the next lecture. So thank you for watching. See you in the next lecture.